Hey, I'm Hilton Carter. I'm a plant stylist, artist, and author. Welcome to my workshop. Today, I want to show you how to make a Kokedama ball. Kokedama meaning moss ball in Japanese. It is the Japanese style of potting a plant with moss, using that moss to surround the root system of a plant. Now, why do I love it? It is such a perfect, unique way to just style a plant in your home. So I'm gonna show you how to create your base, add your plant, and then how to finally wrap it in moss. It is really easy, it's messy, but it's also fun. So when it comes to making a Kokedama ball, you wanna first figure out what type of plant you want to display in that ball. Now, I've picked a bird's nest fern to display in my Kokedama ball because I love how the foliage explodes up and out. And it's just a nice, cool, unique shape next to that ball form that's gonna be the base of your presentation here. Now, when it comes to picking out a plant, probably stay away from cacti or succulents. Stick to the plants that kind of like their soil to be a bit on the wetter side, because we're gonna be mixing in different types of moss to hold moisture for your plant. Now, before we even remove that plant or get into the moss part of it, we gotta make the base of our ball. Now, I have 7 parts peat moss, 3 parts bonsai soil. The peat moss is gonna help hold the moisture. The bonsai soil is gonna help kind of pull some of that moisture away in time to make sure that that moss ball doesn't stay completely wet. We want it on the moist side, not wet side. So that's what's important there. So I'm gonna take them both and I'm gonna add them to my bigger bowl. So first I'll do the peat, then we'll do the bonsai soil. So now I have my mixture in the bowl. I'm gonna start adding lukewarm water very slowly, getting it to the right consistency that is going to make it a bit muddy and make it come together perfectly for this project. So just gonna add a little bit of water, real slow. I don't wanna get it too wet. Place it to the side here. And I'm gonna start working it together and add more as I go. That's important. You don't wanna get it too wet. You wanna make sure you're getting it to the right consistency of moisture. Just feel it out, putting your hands in there, mushing it together, and we're gonna see if it feels a bit muddy, something you can kind of make like a snowball out of. You want it a little bit damp, and you wanna mix it around until you get that feel where almost like it's just coming together, and you don't have to do too much pressing to get that consistency to hold, kind of like this. But when it comes to size, you wanna make sure you are placing your plant in a base that is gonna be 2 inches in diameter, larger than the pot that my bird's nest fern is in. So given that my bird's nest fern is in a 4-inch pot, I'm looking to make a 6-inch base. So I'm getting pretty close to what I think is gonna be the perfect size for my ball. And this is very moist. You can see that moisture kind of releasing as I squeeze it. We want to make sure that it's wet enough so that when we break it apart, it stays together. That's what's important there. And I think at this point, it feels pretty good, kind of like a softball, right? Looks like the size of a softball. I think that is going to be the perfect base to then add our plant in between it. Now that I have my base together, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna place it to the side, and now I'm gonna grab my plant. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna separate the soil gently from my root ball. See some of those roots there. Good look there. I'm gonna take this and sit it to the side as well. Now we have a ball, we have a plant, we have the root ball separated. Now I need to wrap that root ball in something that's gonna help it stay moist. So I have this sphagnum moss here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some moisture, some water to it. Get it nice and damp, and this moss is gonna then be wrapped around my root ball. Get this a little wet. Feels pretty damp there. Then gonna take some of it here, and I'm just gonna wrap it into my root ball to keep that soil moist. Whenever I water my Kokedama ball, this moss here, this moss will help hold on to moisture, keeping my roots perfectly wet so that this plant can continue to grow and continue to thrive. And now that I have that together, we kind of wet it too so I can help hold it together as well. I'm then gonna take more of this water and I'm gonna add that to this super moss, reindeer moss. This moss here will go on the outside of the ball to hold everything together. So while that marinates in there, we're then going to put our plant, our root system, into the middle of our base. Now, once you have your base all set, like I do here, you're just gonna break it in half. So I'm gonna push my thumbs into the center and separate it into 2 halves. That's when you know you actually have a good consistency of moisture to peat and soil. So if yours actually fell apart, let's say that happened, you could then just break it all back apart, put it back in your mixture, add more water, mix it up again, and then create that ball once more. Now that I have mine split in half, that's when I can have some more fun and add my plant to the middle of this. So I'm gonna take this side here, and I'll take my second half, I'm gonna press these guys together. Now, when you're doing this process, and this is where it gets a lot more messy, you're gonna have to add more soil to this part. So I'm gonna scoop up some more, and then I'm just gonna keep adding it and creating that snowball, that big ball. So at the end of this, all of it together will probably end up being about 6 inches in diameter. So yeah, you're just filling in the seams, just making sure that every part of your root system is covered in the base mixture, that peat. So I'm gonna keep trying to get that ball to be as compact and solid as possible. Adding more soil and getting it to this place that'll work perfectly for our ball. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more water here. Now that we have it perfect here at the base, I can then take everything off the table, clean it up a bit, and get ready to swaddle the base in moss. So now that our plant is wrapped in the base, we're then gonna take some of this moss here and wrapping it around our ball. So I'm gonna place this here just for that base there. This moss is just gonna act like almost like a swaddle does for a little baby. It's gonna keep it nice and warm and tucked in there. It's gonna help hold that moisture for the plant to stay alive, keep those roots a bit moist themselves, but also just hold that soil together. So I just cut a piece of twine, and the twine is gonna hold everything together. And it's a messy process. So you gotta kind of maneuver it around everything and just don't give up on it. It's gonna get a bit difficult to really see where you're going with it, but you gotta make sure you hold that twine and then kind of go around your ball. Now, as I go around, I'm adding more moss to the side of it, getting it nice and tight in there. Some of it'll fall off, don't worry. I'll grab more moss as I go. It's a pretty messy project, but it's fun. You're just gonna cover the entire ball in moss. Getting it just nice and tight, just getting all the pieces together, making sure that they're secure. So I have a little bit left here to tie off. So I'm gonna tie it back here, make sure it's nice and tight. All right, now that we're tied off and it seems like it's holding together pretty nicely, I'm gonna start cleaning it up, taking my shears and just trimming off some of those wild edges that we don't wanna see hanging out. Just keeping it nice and trim, work my way around. Now we have our perfect Kokedama ball. And you just wanna find a nice tray for it and place it in that tray. Now let's find it a home. So for your Kokedama ball, you're just gonna add a little water every few days to the base of your tray. Allow that water to be absorbed by that soil. And you're gonna add humidity a few times a week by misting it. Now I'm gonna place it here on my shelves just so that I'm bringing greenery kind of higher in the home, still blurring that line of indoor and outdoor, And just because it's really close to the window, so it can get that nice medium, indirect light that my fern will need as well. So while I did place my kokedama here, you can place it wherever is gonna be best for the type of plant you have created in your moss ball. It's all about light first, then you can have fun styling your plant. So that's how you'll make a kokedama ball, care for it, and also style it. Now, isn't that an easy way to bring greenery into your home? I think so. I think you will as well.